I think that our team kind of got in a groove. Honestly, when Kate got hurt, we were playing good offense, good defense.
This was not just another regular season game. No. Tonight had the tension of a playoff matchup, the star power of final stage, and the back-and-forth drama that keeps fans glued to their seats. The Indiana Fever took on the Dallas Wings in a contest that swung like a pendulum from start to finish. The momentum shifts, clutch shots, and defensive stops at every turn. Right from the opening tip, the Fever made it clear they were ready to set the tone. Kelsey Mitchell came out firing, not hesitating, not testing the waters, but attacking the rim, hitting jumpers, and showing the poise of a veteran leader. Her first three-pointer from the right wing brought the crowd alive, but it wasn't just the scoring. She was pushing the pace, forcing Dallas to get back in a hurry. Aaliyah Boston, ever the presence in the paint, set an early standard defensively. Every time the Wings tried to establish post position, Boston's size, footwork, and timing made it difficult. She altered shots, boxed out aggressively, and started early fast breaks with sharp outlet passes. On the Dallas side, Eric Ogumbo tried to respond quickly. We know Eric's game. Confident pull-up jumpers, aggressive drives, and the ability to get hot in an instant. She hit a couple of early mid-range shots to keep the Wings close. But Indiana's defense, led by Lexi Hull and Melissa Smith, was making her work for every inch of space. And then came Caitlin Clark's first real moment of the night. A deep three from well beyond the arc, Gamebridge Fieldhouse erupted. That shot wasn't just points on the board. It was a statement. Clark was here to control this game. The second quarter saw both coaches, Christy Sides for Indiana and Latricia Trammell for Dallas, making adjustments. Dallas began sending double teams at Boston in the post, trying to force the ball out of her hands. Indiana countered by swinging the ball quickly to open shooters, with Temi Fagbell and Hull making the extra passes that kept Dallas scrambling. This is where Nalissa Smith started to find her rhythm. She hit a pair of mid-range jumpers, then slipped a screen for an easy layup after a perfect feed from Clark. That's the beauty of Smith's game. She can space the floor just enough to pull defenders out, but she's quick enough to cut behind them for easy looks. The Wings weren't going away. Sata Sabali, always a matchup nightmare, began using her length to score over smaller defenders. She nailed a step-back three, then drove baseline for a smooth reverse layup. Dallas was hanging around, and every time Indiana threatened to pull away, Sabali or Ogumbo had an answer. Late in the second, the Fever made one of their best defensive sequences of the night. Clark tipped the pass at the top of the key. Hull dug to save it from going out of bounds, and Mitchell sprinted down the floor to finish with a layup through contact. That hustle play wasn't just worth 2 points. It ignited the building and reminded Dallas that Indiana was playing with a different level of energy. The half closed with Indiana holding a slim lead, but the feeling in the arena was that the game could go either way. Both teams were executing, both stars were delivering, and the intensity was building. If the first half was about feeling each other out, the third quarter was about taking control. And Caitlin Clark did just that, right out of the break. Clark drilled another deep three, this time off a quick handoff from Boston. On the next possession, she used a hesitation dribble to freeze a defender before finding Smith for a baseline jumper. Dallas, to their credit, kept punching back. Sabali hit a three. Ogumbo drove for an M1. And for a brief stretch, the Wings even took the lead. But this is where Indiana's composure showed. Boston went to work inside, using a beautiful up and under move to score over double team. Mitchell hit back-to-back pull-up jumpers, and suddenly, the Fever were back on top. Then came the play of the quarter, and maybe the night. Clark with the shot.
A dynamic playmaking big like that.
I think it's kind of a testament to what So said. I think when the ball pings and everyone can kind of get
that shot pushed the lead to 6 and completely swung momentum. By the end of the third, Clark had not only racked up points but assists as well. She was feeding Boston in the paint, hitting Mitchell on the wing, and even finding Hull cutting backdoor for an easy bucket. This was her quarter, her game, her moment. The fourth quarter began with Indiana holding a modest lead. But in a game like this, nothing was safe. Dallas made an early push. Ogumbo scored on consecutive drives, and Sabali hit another long-range bomb. Suddenly, it was a 2-point game with 7 minutes to play. This is where championship habits matter. Indiana didn't panic. They went to their bread and butter. Clark initiating the offense. Boston setting solid screens. Mitchell hunting her shot. One sequence summed up the Fever's composure. Clark drove hard right, drew 2 defenders, and whipped a no-look pass to Boston for the layup. On the very next trip, Paul dove for a loose ball, saving it to Smith, who kicked out to Mitchell for a dagger 3. Dallas tried to answer, but Indiana's defense locked in. Boston blocked a shot at the rim. Clark grabbed the rebound, and before anyone could blink, she was at the other end hitting another jumper. With under 2 minutes left, the Fever held a 6-point lead. Mitchell hit a step-back jumper. Boston grabbed a crucial offensive rebound and kicked it back out to Clark, who dribbled down the clock before burying another deep 3 to seal it. Indiana Fever 78, Dallas Wings 74. This wasn't just about the win. It was about how they won. The Fever showed resilience when Dallas made runs. They executed in crunch time. They got production from their stars and hustle from their role players. Caitlin Clark was simply sensational. 34 points, multiple highlight assists, and complete command of the offense. Kelsey Mitchell was her steady, reliable self with 25 points and a knack for hitting big shots. Aaliyah Boston owned the paint, both offensively and defensively, and made the little plays that win games. Lexi Hull brought the energy, the hustle, and the intangibles. Dallas deserves credit. Sabali and Ogunbo were brilliant in stretches. But in the end, Indiana's depth, poise, and star power carried the night. With this win, Indiana strengthens its playoff position and sends a message to the rest of the league. They're not just here to make the postseason. They're here to compete. Next up, a marquee matchup with the defending champion Las Vegas Aces. If the Fever can bring the same energy, execution, and balance, the rest of the WNBA better be ready. The streets around Gainbridge Fieldhouse were buzzing hours before tip-off. Fans in Caitlin Clark jerseys poured in from all directions, some clutching homemade signs, others wearing that unmistakable mix of excitement and nervous energy. This wasn't just another night on the calendar. You could feel it. The Indiana Fever were hosting the Dallas Wings, and while the standings alone made this matchup important, the emotional stakes were even higher. Both teams came into the game with plenty to prove. For Indiana, this season has been about growth, but it's also been about making a statement that they can beat playoff-caliber opponents consistently. They've had flashes of brilliance, games where everything clicks, and they look like one of the most dangerous squads in the league. But they've also had moments where youth and inexperience have shown. Tonight was about showing which version of the Fever would show up under the bright lights. On the other side, the Dallas Wings were fighting for their own position in the postseason picture, led by the ever-dangerous.
They move side to side. Everyone's going to guard our first action. We know that. So invite that. And then get it to the second side, get it to the third side. We have so many.
Their challenge this year hasn't been talent. It's been consistency. They know that to climb the standings, they need road wins against teams like Indiana. From the warm-ups, you could sense that both sides were locked in. Caitlin Clark was working through her shooting routine with the same laser focus she brings on game nights, pulling from deep, working off the dribble, practicing those quick-release threes that can change a game in an instant. Kelsey Mitchell was her usual calm, steady self, sinking jumper after jumper to rhythm that looked effortless. Down on the other end, Ogunbo was smiling between shots, but don't mistake that for a lack of seriousness. Anyone who's watched her knows how quickly she can flip the switch and take over. The crowd wasn't just a background element tonight. They were a living, breathing force. Fever fans have been waiting for a season where the team could compete deep into the summer, and every win has built belief. The arena's energy felt less like mid-season basketball and more like a playoff opener. Even before the national anthem ended, you could hear the anticipation in the stands. Both coaches had emphasized the same theme in pregame interviews. Control the tempo. Indiana wanted to push the pace, using Clark's vision and Mitchell's speed to create open looks before Dallas could set up their half-court defense. Dallas, meanwhile, wanted to make this a physical, grinded-out kind of game, slowing Indiana's transition game and forcing contested shots. Whoever imposed their style would likely control the night. And then there was Aaliyah Boston. The reigning Rookie of the Year has quickly established herself as one of the most dominant post players in the WNBA. And her matchup against Dallas's front court was going to be a battle worth watching on its own. Boston's ability to protect the paint, rebound with authority, and kickstart the offense with smart outlet passes makes her the kind of player who can quietly control a game without gaudy scoring numbers. As tip-off approached, the Fever huddled at midcourt. Clark stood in the center, animatedly pointing out matchups and talking about spacing. Boston clapped their hands and called for energy. Mitchell simply nodded, eyes locked on the Dallas bench. This was not a team going through the motions. This was a group ready for a fight. The Wings, for their part, were equally engaged. Ogunbo had a word with her teammates about keeping their composure. While Sabali took a few last practice shots in the corner, each one a smooth swish. The visitors knew the challenge ahead, this crowd, this opponent, this moment. But they also knew that they had the firepower to match it. The horn sounded. The referee stepped to the center circle. Boston and Tierra McCowan lined up for the opening jump. In that instant, all the talk, all the preparation, and all the hype faded.